Hello everyone, welcome into another tactics video here on the channel. I'm Ash as always, and this is the series where I show you how to recreate real systems in FIFA 23. Today we are going to talk about Hajime Moriyasu's Japan Tactics, the system that got them really into the hearts of a lot of us in the World Cup, as well as their obviously lovely fans and team and culture, etc. But they were really good on the pitch with two incredible wins against Germany and Spain, as well as obviously a really unlucky penalty shootout loss against the eventual third place team, Croatia. So today we're going to go through the system. We're going to talk about the 5-2-3 actually, or the 5-4-1, whichever you prefer. They started with a 4-back, but I want to talk about the 5-back because that's what he eventually settled on, and they got a bit of a success out of that. We've got a balanced game plan as well as a defensive and attacking game plan as well. Before we do get into that, I quickly want to say, if you want to see how this tactic ranks amongst all of the other systems that we cover, go and check out my Patreon, because you can find my FIFA 23 tactics package on there with rankings, ratings, strengths, weaknesses of every system that I do cover on the channel. A whole host of other good perks as well on there. Exclusive tactics videos. We just covered Carl Herfkins' Club Bruges tactics, so go and check that out, as well as Discord server access, early access, and all that good stuff. Right then, with that being said, let's get into the system. So, first things first with the formation, you want to go for the 5-2-3, but you're going to have two position changes, and that is with the wing-backs, you want to change them back to full-back. The reason why is that they don't really play like wing-backs, they play like basic full-backs, so you don't really need to try and push them higher up the pitch, really. They'll do the job just with the kind of player instructions alone. With regards to other positions though, there are no changes, so with that in mind we can move on to the tactics. So first things first, what have we got? Well, defensive style, we've got a counter-pressing system. Of course, they kind of tweaked that in moments and changed to a more of an extreme press or backed off more, but we'll talk about that in the other game plans. For the balanced one, we've got this press after possession loss. The width is on 30, the lowest you can get in balance before you get into the narrow kind of shapes. And with this in mind, because you've got that kind of 5-back, you can afford to be a little bit more stretched out because it is going to get crowded in there otherwise. The depth is on 40, giving you a mid-block. Again, this kind of was really influenced by the fact that look who they played against: Germany, Spain, Croatia, etc. So generally they did kind of back off a little bit, but when they needed to, they did kind of push that line up and block up as well, which we'll talk about in the attacking game plan. Offensively, we've got fast build-up. On the build-up play, it's going to enable you to kind of get players forward at pace. A true counter-attacking system. It's where they flourished and where they thrived the most, was throwing men forward, so we can couple that with chance creation being on forward runs. Just this high volume, so much movement, really difficult to kind of track and keep in line. Costa Rica did it to fairly good effect, but when you're the likes of Germany and Spain and you're playing that higher line and you are committing more and taking more risks, it is a difficult one to really keep in hold. So you've got this out and out counter-attacking, highly fluid and kind of very quick system. The width is on 70, stretching out the shape, making sure they exploit those wide areas. They really like to get players in as much space as possible, utilising the full width and length of the pitch. And then players in the box is on 70, giving you roughly 3 to 4 players in the box. Obviously the 3 attackers, and usually one of the central midfielders would get in there often as well. Finally, with the set pieces, corners and free kicks, both of these are on 4. Next up with the player instructions, then starting off with Gonda in goal, we've got him on comes for crosses, for saving on crosses, but then he's saving outside the box, he's on balance. Naturally, they didn't really need him to sweep much because the line was generally a little bit lower, so they weren't getting many balls played in behind them. With the 3 centre-backs, no changes there. You can keep them as they are. And then the 2 full-backs have the same instructions on the attacking runs. They have join the attack, and then also with the run type, they are on overlap. And as I say, it is the same for both. Worth bearing in mind also that the likes of Mitoma and Ito, who played there often at full-back, generally are more natural wingers. You know, particularly Ito as well. As you can see, he's opposite on FIFA, he doesn't actually have right back or right wing back as part of his positional repertoire, but it does mean that you get this extra element of attacking kind of impetus from these fullbacks, so that's really important to note as well. With the two central midfielders then, we've got a couple of different varying kind of positions here. What you'd find is, as we alluded to in the tactics, one central midfielder would often go and contribute to the attacking plays with the attackers. The other one wouldn't play as a defensive midfielder, but would hang back a little bit more, acting as that pivot and also that layer of protection on the counter-attack, more in line with the likes of the fullbacks if they didn't overlap and get to the byline. So in this case, we've gone with Morita. He's on stay back while attacking, and he's also on stay on the edge of the box for the crosses as well. In particular, with defensive position, it is on cover centre. You've only got two central midfielders here. You've got two players out wide and also left and right centre backs as well. So these guys are going to cover centre, and it will be the same for Endo as the other central midfielder as well. He is, of course, on cover centre, but then his attacking support and support and crosses all unbalanced. You don't want him constantly running in beyond, because, again, we've only got those two central midfielders, but you want him to fairly often help to contribute to those attacking phases of play, and that is what he is going to do. Right then, with the front three, starting off with Doan, who's playing as that out-and-out winger. He's on comeback on defence, and it will be the same for Kamada as well. That will get them tracking back. Chance creation is on cut inside, and that's going to complement his support runs, which are on getting behind. He's going to angle those runs, and that is how you're going to make sure that Maeda up front isn't going to be too isolated, essentially. And the support and crosses are also getting to the box for the cross. Now with Kamada, slightly differing roles. He's still on comeback on defence and cut inside, and his support and crosses are still on getting to the box. But this time his support runs are balanced. Naturally, he's less of a natural winger and more of an attacking midfielder. He drifts in a little bit more, makes room for the likes of Mitoma overlapping, and looks to kind of support those two central midfielders to, again, make sure that they're not isolated as well. So he's not constantly running in behind. He doesn't really have the pace to do that. But who does have the pace is Maeda. And that is why his attacking runs up front are on get in behind, penetrating that back line. His support runs are drift wide, making sure that he's not only stuck in between the two centre-backs, he's going to be drifting around, looking to utilise the full width of the pitch and try and find some space to run into. And his defensive support is on basic defensive support. Right then, so we've spoken about the balanced game plan. Let's talk about the defensive and attacking game plan. Starting off with defensive game plan, something that they used really when they were trying to defend the lead in the late game against, say, Spain, for example. So with the tactics here, still press after possession loss, but this time the depth has decreased quite substantially to 20 this time, giving you a low block, really crowding out that defensive third of the pitch, as you will have noticed. This time the build-up play as well goes to slow build-up. This is more to do with the gameplay than their actual approach, because what you'll find is that players are kind of darting out of their position really quickly, leaving you vulnerable. That's not what you want in this situation when you're trying to defend that lead. So as a result, what you are looking for is for them to be a little bit more reserved and calculated when you do regain the ball in your defensive third. So we have that on slow build-up, but forward runs does remain the same. The width goes down this time to 60 from 70. Still fairly wide, but because you've changed this from a wide 70 to a more of a balanced 60, what you'll then find is that it's going to be easier for them to then regain that narrow shape when they do lose possession. They don't want to stretch it out too much and leave too many gaps. So again, it's just trying not to be so vulnerable. Players in the box goes down this time to 5, giving you roughly 2 to 3. Of course, you're going to have the striker and the right winger and probably the left winger as well. Otherwise, the central midfielders are really going to hold their position. Corners and free kicks also go down from 4 this time to 3, leaving you another player or 2 on the edge of the area and back, just to make sure you are protecting against the counter attack. With the player instructions, just a couple of tweaks, starting off with the central midfielder. As we've spoken about, he's no longer getting forward into the box, so this time Endo, rather than on balanced attack and balanced crossing runs, this time he's on stay on the edge of the box for the cross and stay back while attacking. Meanwhile, Maeda, who is of course up front, this time his defensive support is come back on defence. They really have that block of 10, just defending in their defensive and middle thirds, really. Let's talk about the attacking game plan then and how it tweaks a little bit. This is something they really used against, say, Spain after half time, when they were 1-0 down. Again, something similar to Germany, obviously different shape and formation, but the principles were very, very similar. Defensive style this time, constant pressure, a relentless press, really trying to get into the face of the opposition. The width goes up to 50 this time, stretching the play out, looking to complement that extreme relentless press as much as they can. And then the depth this time goes up to 70, giving you that high line, and they really look again to play into that press as they try and push for a goal. Fast build up and forward runs. Still on, remember this is going to drain your stamina, so use it sparingly when you're desperate for a goal, because you are going to find your players absolutely dying by the end of it. Width, again, back up to 70. And then players in the box this time is on 8, meaning you're definitely going to have a minimum of 4 players getting into the box. And with that being said, it's just about time to round it off there. If you've got any questions about this system with regard to the gameplay, etc., please don't hesitate to let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you want to see how this tactic rates compares to all of the other systems we've covered, check out that FIFA 23 Tactics package on my Patreon, as well as many other perks as well. A great way to support the channel if you can afford it. I really do appreciate it. So many of you currently supporting me on Patreon, over 130 of you at the moment, which is keeping this channel going at the moment and allowing me to dedicate as much time to it as I possibly can. So thank you so much for that, guys. I really am grateful. We're now going to go to some gameplay to see how it checks out, so do stick around for that as well. Check out my gaming podcast, all the links are down below. Lots of good episodes on there for all things video games, if that is what you are interested in. And also subscribe to the channel, ring the bell to get notifications every time I upload as well. With that being said, until the next time, I've been Prom18, and I will see you soon.